Hello and welcome to the final episode of 2024 for Fine is a Four-Letter Word. I just recorded an amazing 23 to 24 minutes of an episode and my freaking microphone wasn't plugged in, so there was no audio. So here we are, take two. Before, oh my God, I was like, fuck this. I can't believe I did that. Pro tip. Yeah. I've been doing this for a while. I should have known. Anyway, that is indicative of how my week has been going. And I will get into that more in a moment. But first, I want to remember to mention to you, because I can't believe I haven't brought this up, I don't think, on a past podcast episode, is that there is a Zen Rabbit store for Fine is a Four-Letter Word merch. Yeah. I put it together. My awesome project manager put it together with me. And you can get phone cases, you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, journals, pillows. There's a super cute little teddy bear wearing a t-shirt that says Fine is a Four-Letter Word. You can get tote bags so you can take them to the grocery store so you don't need to use the plastic bags anymore. A whole bunch of stuff, sweatshirts, t-shirts, long sleeve hoodies and tank tops and all kinds of cool stuff. You can find that at zenrabbit.printful, printful.me, zenrabbit.printful.me. I'll put a link to that in the show notes so you don't have to remember that. You can just go there and click on it, and it'll take you to all the cool stuff that you need to have in your wardrobe. All right, so on to the week. Yeah, so my God, it's been a hell of a year. I was thinking about that earlier this week when I was sitting in front of my computer on Monday, and I just was not productive. Like, the brain power was at zero, and I was trying really hard to keep working, or work at all, not even keep working, just get some work out, like to be productive, because I had stuff I needed to do. But the brain power is just exhausted. It's done. I don't know. Are you feeling the same way at this point in the year? You're just like, or even a couple weeks previous to this, like, I'm just toast, done. It's been an amazing, incredible year. A lot of stuff has happened for me. What about, I don't know about for you. What about for you? Do you feel like there was a lot going on this year? Or do you feel like that maybe there could have been more stuff packed into your life in this year? Because I don't think, and I love that I feel this way at the end of the year, that I don't see any way that more stuff could have been packed into my life in the past year. And that feels good. And at the same time, I'm exhausted. So I'm planning to take the next couple of weeks off and come back refreshed, rejuvenated, recharged, all the R words. And I encourage you to do the same. But yeah, just a quick look back at this year. I mean, a lot of you who are listening know that I was living nomad life for most of 2024, 13 months in total, from October 23 to the end of October 24. And yeah, driving a lot, traveling around mostly the southeast part of the United States, house sitting and cat sitting, mostly cats, a couple of beautiful, lovely dogs. And yeah, it was a lot. I visited a lot of places, explored a lot of new towns, new cities, and finally chose to park myself in Charlotte, South Carolina. Oh my gosh. See what's happening? Charlotte, North Carolina is my new home. And I am thrilled to be here. I am making friends and learning my way around. I can get to Costco and a few other places without even needing to use the GPS anymore. That is impressive to me. So, yeah, but it's been a year. You know, I had all of that travel, all of that exploring new places, which is exciting and exhilarating, and also exhausting, and decision fatigue was a major issue. I think I talked about that in some of my previous episodes this year, of just constantly having to make decisions of where am I sleeping tonight, or what is the next city I'm going to go to, and where am I going to be, at the end of this month, or whatever it is. Just constant, uh, not knowing. It's not, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, just the not knowing, and having to trust and have faith that everything is going to work out. And guess what? It did, always. That's my mantra, right? Everything is always working out for me, because it is. Even if I didn't know where, there was a time back in one of the days in January, I was in South Florida. I thought I was going to be staying at my dad's condo, and then that plan didn't work out, and I did not know where I was sleeping that night. I was having coffee, tea, whatever. I don't drink coffee. I was having tea with somebody that I know, but wouldn't consider her like a great friend. I mean, we're friends. And I mentioned, like, I don't know where I'm sleeping tonight. And she's like, oh, well, I have a guest room. Come stay with me. And it was amazing. We had the best time. We just had such good conversation, and it was totally spontaneous and totally perfect. And so this is how life is. If you trust that it is always going to unfold for your best interest and highest good, it does. It's amazing. Amazing. So we had that going on this year. What else? My nephew had his bar mitzvah, and he did an amazing job. That was in July. And then in August, I've mentioned this in past episodes too, my dad passed away after he was not doing well for most of the past year. And so I had been down to South Florida a few times to see him in my travels, and I was there for the last week of his life. And so I'm grateful and honored that I was able to be there. And at the same time, tough, right? It's hard. If you have experienced the death of a parent or parents, it's hard. It's been 4 months now, and there are still days. In fact, I mentioned how unproductive I was on Monday, and there was just something weird about that day that was going on. Like, I just felt so emotionally fragile, I guess is the best way to say it. Like, just not, I didn't feel quite right. And so I wasn't being productive, but I wasn't allowing myself to get up and go for a walk, or bake some cookies, or do something that didn't require brain power and focus. So even though I teach all of these tools and techniques on how to stay calm and grounded, I mean, I was calm and I was grounded, sort of, but I still wasn't allowing myself to just take a break. Just take a freaking break. If you're not being productive and you're not feeling focused, let yourself get up and do something else, and then come back later, and maybe you'll have it together then, or maybe you won't and you need to wait until tomorrow. Like, it's about having grace with yourself. And that's something that, even though I teach it, I'm still learning it myself as well. So yeah, it's been a year, and I am just in awe of all the things that happened, the people that I met, the experiences that I had. And here we are at the end of this year. I was thinking, I couldn't remember. And even though I'm recording this for the second freaking time, I still didn't look it up between when I realized the other one didn't record and now. I don't remember what my word of the year was for 24. I think it might have been adventure. I'm going to have to go back and see if I can find where I might have posted it or shared it or recorded it anywhere. I think it was adventure. What was your word for 24? Do you remember? And did you live it out? Because, like I said, I'm pretty sure mine was adventure, and I definitely lived that out. It might have been trust. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, it might have been trust, which, again, definitely lived that as well. So my word for 25, my phrase, is community. Part of the thing when I was out nomading and I was living, in different places for a week or 2 weeks at a time, I didn't have a sense of community. I didn't belong anywhere. So um, that was rough for me. I think as humans, we're designed to be part of a community. A lot of the things that we do or don't do in our lives are evolutionarily based in the fear that we will be ejected from our community and not be part of a tribe. And so that's why we act the way we do, even if it is maybe not in our highest good or best interest. And so community is super important. That's always been something that's important to me, community and connection. And so my focus for 2025 is building a community, building friends here in Charlotte, which I have already started to do, and creating a sense of community, getting involved in some volunteer activities, and really becoming part of something. And one of the things that I'm going to do in order to fulfill that goal is host some gratitude dinners and some game nights. Those are two different things. So they're not going to be combined, but some gratitude dinners. That idea comes from past podcast guest Chris Schembra, who wrote a couple of books, New York Times bestsellers. Gratitude and Pasta is where he first presented the idea of hosting gratitude dinners, that he started doing that in his New York City apartment, small New York City apartment. And then he wrote a second, and then he turned it kind of into a business where he was hosting gratitude dinners for companies to help them build community and connection within their organizations and with their clients. And then he wrote a follow-up book called Gratitude Through Hard Times. So gratitude dinners are something I have been talking about for years, about hosting them, and I haven't done it. And now I'm definitely I'm planning one for January. That's it. I'm not talking about it anymore. I'm just doing it. And so however many people I know in Charlotte who can come, I'm inviting, and I'm going to start with them and then maybe ask each one of them to bring somebody that they know so that we can start building that community. And then game nights. Hey, let's have some fun, because many of the conversations I've had in the past several years with friends and colleagues are around well, what's fun for you? And sadly, or comically, whichever way you want to look at it, people are like, yeah, I don't even know what's fun anymore. And so game nights, another thing that I had wanted to do for years and years, even back when I was still in my marriage, I wanted to host game nights because I just think it would be super fun. So those two things are happening. What are some things that you want to do and bring into 2025 in your life? What are you bringing into 2025? What's something that you've been wanting to do, or even something maybe that just popped into your awareness that you want to take part in or create, or what? Oh, another thing I'm planning to do is get involved in the indoor rock climbing community. We'll see. There's an indoor rock climbing gym that I haven't been to it yet. But what is it that you're bringing into your 2025? And then I've got some other questions to ask you, and I will put these in the show notes as well, so you don't have to take notes if you don't want to. But these are some really good questions to ask yourself before New Year's Eve rolls around. I mean, even after, but if you want to prepare yourself well for stepping into the new year, what are you bringing with you into 25? And then equally, if not maybe more important, what are you leaving behind? What is no longer serving you that you do not need to drag into 25 with you? What else? What is there that you are going to leave behind? And for me, one of the things I've been working on leaving behind is doubt. I don't know if I can do this, or I don't know if this thing is going to work because it hasn't worked in the past, or it has never worked for me, or I have never done it before. That doubt is such a insidious killer of action and outcomes. And I'm done with it. I'm just done. I am focusing on the goal, the intention, what I want, and fucked out. I'm just done with it. Done. We'll see how it works out. But I've been doing some deep inner work on leaving behind doubt. And then what are your intentions? Not goals. I'm not a big fan of the word goals, and I'm definitely not a fan of the word resolutions. But what are your intentions for this coming year? What are you building for yourself? What would you ideally like your life to look like? And one of my intentions, so I just got off the phone this morning. I was talking with one of my college roommates, former one of my college roommates. They're the words. And she she lives overseas now because she works for the State Department. She's in the Foreign Service. And so I haven't seen her in a couple of years, but she's back in the States right now. So for the holidays with her family. And so we had a catch up call. And I renewed my passport in October. And, passports are good for 10 years. And that previous passport had like one freaking stamp in it I think it was from the Bahamas, which, yeah, it's international. I get it. But that's it. That passport was sadly lacking in activity. And I'm not okay with that anymore. I want to go and see and do. And I've done a lot of stuff in the US, but I want to go. And so Jean is living in Tanzania she's been there for a year and a half, I think already. And she's going to be there for another year and a half. And that's one of my intentions for 25. She said June, July, and August are the best months to go. And so that's on my calendar. I'm putting it in there. My brother and sister-in-law went there for their honeymoon 17 years ago. So I hear from what she says, it is amazing, beautiful. The food is incredible. The spices, I'm super, super psyched to go do that. So what are your intentions for 25? And what are you committing to doing or not doing to get there? So if one of your intentions is to be healthier, what are you doing to get there? What are you committing to is what I should say. What are you committing to doing? Are you committing to walking 20 minutes a day? Are you committing to eating a salad for lunch every day? Are you committing to, in terms of not bringing 2-liter bottles of soda or any soda into your house? Are you committing to not drinking anymore? What is it you are committing to doing or not doing that's going to move you closer to your intention? And then what's one thing that you want or will feel good about having done by this time next year? So, for me, it'll be having built that community, having gone on that trip, having hosted, 5 game nights. I'm just randomly I just picked that number out of the air, but sure, I guess that'll be what it is. And yeah, so what can you say? So on that note, though, before you start looking too far ahead, what do you feel good about right now having accomplished or done in the past year? And how are you going to celebrate? We've talked in past episodes about celebrating your wins, no matter how small they are, and how important it is to do that because, the more you celebrate your wins, the more good stuff to celebrate the universe brings to you. And so what are those wins that you're celebrating at the end of this year, and how are you celebrating them? I might throw out a recommendation of Grater's ice cream. All right, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's what I'm celebrating. I freaking love that stuff. If I haven't mentioned it before, man, I challenge anyone to bring me a better ice cream than Grater's. I just haven't found it yet. That stuff is good. Company is a family-based company, family-owned and operated company based in Cincinnati. But you can find their stuff at a lot of the Kroger's and Fresh Markets. They carry it. So anyway, back to what are you most proud of having done this year, and how are you celebrating it? So all of these questions that I just invited you to examine and respond to, message me with your answers if you want. send it, email it, text me, message me through social, send a carrier pigeon. I don't care. It will get into my apartment. I'm telling you, a carrier pigeon is not impossible. Cause, well, let me tell you this story. But first I want to mention, I saw this thing on Facebook recently about, faith and fear both require you to believe in something you don't see. Faith and fear both require you to believe in something you don't see. So my question then becomes, which do you choose? Do you want to stay in fear, or would you rather step into faith? And as I've mentioned, I'm not a big fan of fear. I don't know that anybody's a fan of it, but people hold on to it because it feels familiar and they don't know how to let go of it. So crazy thing happened. If I don't know, you might have seen my Facebook post on this a couple weeks ago about the story of a butterfly. So I mentioned I was thinking about my dad. There's been some other death in like tangentially related to me. One of my another of my past podcast guests who has an amazing love story. His wife passed away recently, suddenly. And my heart hurt for him. And I was thinking about him, and there were some other people that I know through social who had been through some rough times involving death. And I was thinking about that the other day. And as I was cleaning, and I was just, my heart was in this place where I just felt sad. And I opened the pantry to get my breakfast Kodiak pancake mix out, and I turned around, and on the floor in the kitchen is a pale yellow butterfly alive in my apartment on the kitchen floor. I'm like, how the actual fuck did a butterfly get in my apartment? Because the balcony door had not been opened in at least a week. And the door to my apartment opens into an enclosed hallway. It is not like an open, like in my apartment in California, it opened into the outside. That is not what we have here. So how did a butterfly get into my apartment and it's still alive? Like, that was crazy. So I looked at that as a spontaneous manifestation, because there's no other explanation. And in case you're wondering, I scooped it into a glass and took it out to the balcony and let it fly free. So, so that's what happened. But if you look up what butterflies mean, they are an indication of transformation, which could be another word that I would choose for 2025. Lots of transformation. I've talked to a lot of people recently as well who are feeling this renewed energy for this new year. I don't know. Are you feeling that too? Because a lot of people are just feeling super fired up, and not just because it's a new year. Like, everybody feels fired up when it's a new year, I feel like, but there's something different. There's something different happening right now. And so, so this butterfly was just a perfect indication of, again, whatever you need is going to show up in perfect timing. And so I bring it up because if you send me a carrier pigeon, I'm not going to be surprised if it shows up in my apartment just randomly. I don't know how it got in here. Although I gotta say, I think it will be harder to catch and release a carrier pigeon, I don't know, maybe not, than a little butterfly. But yeah. Anyway, reach out to me. Tell me the answers to those questions. What are you looking forward to? What are your intentions for 25? What are you taking into the year? What are you leaving behind? What are you committing to doing or not doing? And what are you celebrating? And let's celebrate together. All right. So once again, let me mention that the Zen Rabbit store with the fine is a 4-letter word, fine is a 4-letter word, merch is available at zenrabbit.printful.me. Go there, get your merch, wear your shirts and hats proudly. And before we close, because we always got to do the hype song. I got 2 songs for you. Okay. One is, it's just a song that I heard recently. It's a fairly new song, 2024. It's by Jelly Roll. I'm not a huge Jelly Roll fan, but I totally respect him for this song. And it's called I Am Not Okay. And one of the lyrics, one of the lines in the song is, and it's not really a hype song, but it could be a hype song, is, so if I say I'm fine, just know I learned to hide it well. And so I thought that was very appropriate for a show called Fine is a 4-letter word. Awesome. It is a really good song. And then in the more traditional of a hype, I am going to put out there the song Fearless by the Goo Goo Dolls. And that is a hype song in the tradition of hype songs. So there you go. That's what we got going on. That's the wrap up for this year. If there's anything I can do to support your success in the coming year, let me know. I am here for you. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I'm so grateful for every single one of you who listens and who shares it with your friends, and who comments, leaves reviews on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you can leave a review. Love that. Thank you. And see you in the new year.